Hello everyone, hope you're all well today, and thanks very much for all the support with my videos, like, shares and comments. Thanks to everybody who supports me very kindly through buying me a coffee. I'm very grateful. Yesterday we had the coronation of Simon Harris, Ireland's youngest Taoiseach, who won the vote by 88 to 69, who voted against him being coronated as Ireland's third Taoiseach in 4 years. Now over the weekend he had the Ardèche in Galway, and he spoke of a new energy. Isn't that remarkable? Harris spoke of a new energy. He himself has been in government for nearly 13 years, has been a ministerial position for many of those years as well, and famously was the one who nominated Enda Kenny as Taoiseach. We all know about Enda Kenny and the devastation that his government wreaked on Ireland in terms of the Troika, the bankers' bailout, and the devastating austerity and the vulture funds coming into Ireland. So this is the new energy that Simon Harris is talking about. When he spoke, he also gave a tribute to Leo Varadkar. He said, when things were at our worst, Varadkar was at his best, rather, which is remarkable in terms of the COVID lockdown devastation that it was impacted on people in Irish society. But of course, Harris is a fully signed up member of the Fine Gael establishment. He also said Fine Gael is a family, not surprised, a family for the landlords, developers and super rich, not a family for ordinary people. And he also said he wants new ideas and he wants to hit the ground running. So let's drill a little bit into this with Simon Harris and his new ideas and his new energy he's trying to bring forward as well. And he led out to his son, I think, at the Ardèche about, you ain't seen nothing yet. I think we've seen enough, Simon. I think we've seen far too much of Fine Gael's devastating policies to last more than a lifetime at this stage. But in the context of his policies and what he was talking about, it was interesting because he spoke about housing. Housing being the challenge of our generation. He said he was going to get the young people of Ireland out of the parents' box rooms and into homes. He spoke about building over 250,000 houses by 2030. He didn't explain how he was going to do that or in what way he was going to do it, but he said he was going to move mountains towards building housing. Well, they haven't really succeeded so far, have they, Fine Gael's government? They've succeeded to sell off to vulture funds, cause extortionate rents, record evictions, record homelessness, and force a young generation out of Ireland. Now, Simon Harris also spoke about more student accommodation, surprise, surprise, more money for the rich, student investors, and the Help to Buy scheme to be extended for 5 years, which is already resulted in pushing up house prices. Last year in Dublin, only 75 first-time buyers bought houses. The vast majority were with vulture funds and who were going to push them out onto the private rental market and charge extortionate rents as well for that, who are gazumping people in the market looking to buy a home as well. And he also spoke about extending the renters tax credit. So Simon Harris, he'd be moving mountains to build houses. Maybe he should pick up a few bricks and build houses instead. And maybe he should properly tax the amount of vacant homes we have in Ireland to bring them back into use. But of course, that would be probably too radical for Simon Harris and his new energy. More of the same nonsense that he's going to push over the next period of time, I'm almost certain. He also said Fine Gael will support small businesses. In our local areas, many have been driven to the wall and many more are struggling to stay open. But again, Harris is looking after Fine Gael's so-called core values. And that is really about big business. He's trying to bow down now to say he's supporting small business when so many rates, energy costs and so forth are pushing small businesses out of business. He also spoke about the health service. Another failed Minister for Health, Simon Harris. He spoke about improving the health service. Well, currently there's an embargo on more staff, GPs, nurses, therapists as well. Mental health services are on the floor. 1 million people on hospital waiting lists. Trolley crisis and chaos. up and down the country. Not to mention, he spoke he's going to have a commission on care for older people. Well, that's remarkable when there's a lack of public health nurses in the community, lack of community centres and services up and down the country. He also spoke to law and order and security. He says more Gardaí, more resources and more power for Gardaí with body cameras. And at the same time, even with his cabinet appointments, what did he do? No massive change. He kept Helen McEntee, another failed Justice Minister, in her portfolio. This is the new ideas of Simon Harris. He also was nominated by Enda Kenny as well, who did a video address from New Zealand. Enda Kenny, who was speaking about this would be the mother and father of elections, and for Fine Gael to get behind the juggernaut of Simon Harris, which is going to cause more devastation in people's lives. Enda Kenny on his video call from New Zealand. Harris also spoke with immigration to say he wants a fair and firm system. At the same time, he's trying to push through a EU migration pact, which again abdicates responsibility to the European Union of our direct policies of the state, which goes against the constitutional rights of ordinary people here in Ireland. But when did that ever matter to Simon Harris, another yes man for the EU as well? And he also said he will stand shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine. Unsurprisingly, more money, more weapons, more arms training and more drive towards NATO with Simon Harris. New ideas? It's definitely not, as Simon Harris is going to push us towards more NATO and continue the same failed policies we've seen of Varadkar, his predecessor, who's riding off into the sunset on his huge pension. And he got lauded as well by Ursula von der Leyen, who said she is looking forward to meet with Harris tomorrow in Brussels, and I think is going to be meeting in Warsaw possibly on Friday as well, and congratulate him. And he was also congratulated by Zelensky, who said he was very welcome at the election of Simon Harris. Now, Harris hasn't been elected because Harris is an anointed, coronated Taoiseach. And this comes from Zelensky, who's banned elections, and he himself was due to face an election at the end of March, but of course that's being pushed off. But this is the democracy and values that the European Union try and talk about, and it's what the Ukraine want to talk about, and what Ireland also want to talk about as well. And it's interesting, he spoke about Gaza as well and said he abhors the actions of Netanyahu. Well, maybe he could start by passing the Occupied Territories Bill, but no, he rejected that. Maybe he could expel the Israeli ambassador, but no, he won't do that. Simple Simon. And of course, it's more lip service. And as well, he spoke about farmers, and he said Fine Gael should be a party for farmers. Many small farmers are being pushed over the edge, and he tried to announce a few bob in a fodder relief package for the farmers over the next period of time. And as well, wait and see for his cabinet appointees. We saw the recent cabinet appointees where Harris has named 2 new ministers in the senior cabinet. Has been Peter Burke as the new Minister for Enterprise, who's taken over from Simon Coveney, and he has Patrick O'Donovan, who's the new Minister for Higher Education, Further Education, who was with Simon Harris's position. So if you consider all this in the context of new energy, new ideas, this was no new energies, this was no new ideas, this was Fine Gael going back to the rotten, corrupt 1% that they represent, the super rich, super wealthy, that they represent. We need a radical change in Ireland, and the change will come from ordinary people, from the grassroots, from local democracy, from local areas, local communities, people coming together and demanding what they need in their communities in terms of the context of our housing disaster, health disaster, education disaster as well. So let's see how this develops as the media love-in continues with Simon Harris. It's the policies they enact. You might change the faces, but the policies will definitely not change tack. And in the context of his new ideas, they're complete and absolute garbage, complete nonsense, and more media spin that'll be pushed down people's throats over the next number of days as homelessness will increase, as the health disaster will get worse for people, and as people will be pushed more over the edge with the cost of living disaster as well, not to mention the immigration chaos that's being created because of his governments and the European Union policies all about getting cheaper labour. And this is what it's all about. They all serve the interests of the super rich, the wealthy, and it's ordinary working class people who feel the impacts most of all. So thanks for joining me in my video today. Please share my videos. Please press subscribe to my YouTube channel and press like to my Facebook page also as well. And thanks to everybody who supports me through buying me a coffee. I'm very grateful. So from Dublin today, take care. Talk to you all soon. Slán.